Hello, this is Adriane Ritter
and Shelley McNeely
with Valley of the Mist Quilt Guild, and this is the November 2018 block of the month. This is the block that we're doing this month, and it's, if you've ever made a disappearing 9 patch, to me that's what this block kind of looks like. What you get after you start cutting apart and dissecting your big 9 patch block. But if you've never done it, it's just a slightly off shape 9 patch, I guess would be the way to describe it. So what fabric do we need?
That's all right.
Okay.
We need 2 focus fabric.
And that fabric, in case you're new, is called Effervescence by Robert Kaufman, and the color is Wild.
And they need to be cut to 2 by 3 inch rectangles. Then from the coordinating fabric, you can cut a 2 inch strip across the, how do you put it?
The entire width of the fabric.
Yeah, the width.
If you've got a really normal size 44 inch wide fabric, when you take off the salvages,
right,
this takes exactly 42 inches. So if you've got either two strips from a fat quarter,
right,
or 1 whole strip on the width of the fabric.
Okay, and from that you have to make 8 of the 2 by, let's see, 2 by, I lost
4.5.
Yeah, 2 by 4.5 inch rectangles, and 2 of the 2 by 3 inch rectangles. Then you need a 4.5 inch square of the black fabric, and then of the white fabric you need 4
I'm just going to move that over so you can see it easier.
Of the 3 by 4.5 inch rectangles, and 4 of the 3 inch squares.
And before I forget, in case you want the printed instructions on doing this, just go to the Valley of the Mist Quilt Guild website under Block of the Month, and you will find the pattern there. Okay, so to make the first part of this block, and this block is super simple because no triangles this month, but we are going to make this little section right here. There's 4 of them, and they're made exactly the same. So we just need 4 of the 2 inch by 4.5 inch rectangles, and 4 of the 4.5 inch by 3 inch white pieces. And we're just going to sew that seam,
the long seam,
right here, and then
right sides together.
Oops, that's upside down. Right sides together. We're going to sew that together, and we will be right back. Shelley has sewn these onto the long edge, and she's going to press them right now. And we are pressing this time to the dark, which obviously we try to do most of the time. Sometimes that just doesn't work, but so she's pressing that, and while she's pressing, I'm going to talk about the next step that we're going to do. So our next step will be to take, these are kind of hard to see on this this board because it's white, but I have the little 3 inch squares, and I have the 4 3 inch pieces, 3 by 2 inch pieces of fabric that we have for the block. So 2 of them are the coordinating fabric, and 2 are of the focus fabric, and we are going to sew those along one edge of this block. So all 4 of those, they work the same, just pick one edge. Obviously it's a square, so it doesn't really matter. And then it will matter when we come back on the next step, how we place that. So another simple piece, and there are those 4. Hey, let's throw this, hopefully everyone can see that. I think we're in the camera. I can see that.
I can pull it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, pull it up a little bit. She's kind of placing it because, like most of our blocks, the placement really matters. You know, you've got to follow what we're doing here so that they still work. All right, so we'll be back in just a minute. So we have sewn this piece on, and Shelley has actually pressed a couple. She's going to finish pressing some more right now. We press it toward the color fabric, and so this is kind of backwards to me, but I've double checked it because I'm not very good with right and left, as everyone in my family will tell you. But you want to lay this out in front of you so that the white fabric is to your left and the color fabric is to your right, and then whether it's the focus fabric or the coordinating fabric, and then place the one of the 2" by 4.5" rectangles on top, and you're going to fold that down, and we're going to sew this seam right here. And you're going to do the same thing for all 4. So lay them out, like stack them up, and that way you won't get it wrong, because it really does matter, you know, which way you do it. You just want it like that. Lay this on it, and we are going to sew that seam, and then we will be right back. All right. Yes, I'm making Shelly do all the work. All right, we're back again, and here's a corner piece right here, and on this one, Shelly's pressing the last couple right now. This one we're going to actually press towards the white fabric, away from the piece you just sewed on, and that I want to show you real quick why we're doing that. We don't like to have that because you have the potential of having a shadow showing through under when you actually put your quilt together. But in this case, we want this, when we sew the blocks together, we want those to alternate with the block next to it. So it's got to press the other way so we can nest that in there. All right, so Shelly's going to talk to us about arranging the last blocks here, and the reason why we had to be careful with our orientation here.
Okay, so these all should be sewed so your whites and the coordinating and focus end up essentially the same. But when you put them on here, you want to make sure that it ends up you have the white to the outside. So that, and the focus fabrics, maybe we should do those first. They end up on opposite corners. So now we end up with the coordinating fabric surrounding the black. And that should make it fit perfectly.
Yeah. So as long as you placed them and did them all the same, it should be perfect. So now what we're going to do is sew this. We're getting near the end, and we're going to sew across all 3. So we end up with 3 rows, and it doesn't matter. You can go this way, but you just want to do, you know, 3 rows the same way. Don't mix it up and do half and half. Okay,
right.
yeah. So
do rows one way or the other.
So we'll come back, and when you do the rows, like we've done in the past, we want you to sew, press all of the seams to one direction, so that when we come back. Do you agree on that, Shelley?
Well, there are different ways to do it, and it'll come out right.
We want the seams so that they alternate.
Yeah.
And we try to make it so we don't go into the white. But I think to make this alternate, we've got to go, like here, these ones can go out. No.
Well,
if these ones go in and these go out, then we're good. Okay, yeah, so let's do that. On this one, these 2 seams, we're going to press them both towards the black. And here on the outer rows, we're going to press them both towards the coordinating fabric.
I'll show you when we're done. Then you'll see.
All right. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sorry, if you guys could see the high-tech setup we have on this video.
We're getting to the end here, ladies and gentlemen.
So Shelly wants to show you on the pressing here.
Okay. Yours should look similar even if you did it rows, columns, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the top, this one here, press this one out to the edge, and on the other side, this one out to the edge. And then so in the middle, you press both sides to the black. And then on the next one, again, same as you did the top one, press them out.
Because what you want, see, when we're going to fold these down and sew,
hopefully
they're
you can
opposite.
see this.
You can see that it's opposite right here, and so that's how they nest. So that's like, that was like mind-blowing when I first learned that, because otherwise you're fighting the seams, you got a lump. This way it just goes nice.
Right, and in theory, on the last step, you should have had nested seams on a couple of them also. So
right, yeah, we've already taken that into consideration, and you should be nested look at this right here. When we go to this one, they're all gonna interlock and it'll just be perfect. You should have a perfect lock at the end. That's what we always have. Oh, that would be so great, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it though? We call it perfect every time.
Yeah, no matter how much we have to iron it aggressively to make it the right size.
Exactly.
Okay, anyway, we're gonna sew these last 2 seams and we'll be right back. All right, so we have sewn the final seams and pressed it and fixed what I pressed, and Shelly will talk about it.
Okay. On the final pressing, press out from the center, and you got it done.
It goes right into this color, so it's a good direction to go because we're away from the white fabric on that last one.
And it works perfect.
See, so we pressed out. And show them it's a 12.5-inch square. Perfect every time.
Perfect.
Did it take a little aggressive ironing to get that 12.5-inch?
Probably.
Probably. So the important thing that I want to mention right now, we talked about it a little bit if you were at last month's guild meeting, was we have picked the fabric for next year's focus fabric, and that is this. And it's we will have it at the meeting in January. It's called Modern Movement, and it's Henry Glass fabric. We picked it because it has some really great color choices to work with. It's got these reds, orange, yellow, blue, greens, and it's kind of hard to see, but you can, I mean, I'm showing right here all of the colors on the side there, but it actually has a silver in it. So we hadn't really mentioned this before, but we're pretty sure next year we're going to go with a gray fabric instead of black as our secondary. So the idea will be the same. We have this focus fabric. You're going to pick a coordinating fabric that matches one of these colors in here. We'll have white and we'll have gray. Probably like a medium gray. It's your choice, whatever you think looks good. If it's too light, it might not contrast with the white very well. So you want to make sure you've got a little bit of color in that gray. If it's otherwise, I mean, you could even go with a silvery gray.
Yeah. And we're going to go something a little bit different. We're thinking about improv blocks, so this will be something different.
Yeah. So each month it's going to be, we're going to be testing your improv skills. So it won't be so much accurate cutting. It'll just be,
right.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
It should be fun because everybody should come out a little bit different, and it's not wrong.
That's
no
right.
matter what you're doing, it's right.
As long as we end up with 12.5-inch square. That's
right.
what matters.
Yep.
All right. So love this block. We made it easy because we are getting towards the holidays, the end of the year, and one more block to finish out this year.
Yep.
All right. So see you guys next month.